welcome back. I've come by today to show you a tag. This one's going to be a little bit different to norm. So I've got two pieces of the blue rectangular card from out of the kit that I was selling on my pop-up shop, and I've got two pieces of paper and I've got the paper bag. So that's what I'm going to be using to make up the base of this tag. Now these pieces here, they measure, just in case you're using your own materials, these measure 8¼ inches long by 3½ inches wide, but I will be trimming them down a little bit and you'll see why very soon. Okay, push that one to one side. This one I want to measure, and I'm going to do it on the back so that I don't ruin the card. I'm going to measure along one long edge 4½ inches and just mark it with a pencil. Alright, so that was from that edge up that way. Now I'm going to measure 4½ inches from this edge this way. So 4½ inches, and put a little tick mark there. And then I'm going to join those two measurements together. And I'm going to cut along that line. Okay, so you end up with two pieces like that. Now then, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure 3/8 inch and score, and then 3/8 inch and score from the two longer sides. Okay, not the shorter sides, but the longer sides. So I'm going to have to spin it around that way. And not the shorter side, but the longer side. 3/8 inch score. And then, so as you can see, the way that I've got them, look, this is the textured side and this is the non-textured side, because it's the only way that it works. So I have to spin that over to shove it in the corner. Not the short side, but the long side. 3/8 inch. So as you can see, I've got the two long sides together. So I'm going to fold this one that way and this one that way. So this one's going to fold back like that and burnish, because it's quite firm card, this. Okay, so that's that one. And then this one I'm going to fold underneath. So if I spin it over, fold it over, and then burnish. Okay, this is now slightly wider than those two angled pieces that I've made, so I need to cut it down so that it's the same width. So I'm going to mark it there, and I'm going to mark it there. And then I'll trim that down. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to swap them, so they were like that, and I'm going to swap them over, alright, so that they're like that. So this is going to be attached at the bottom with that folded edge spinning round to the back, and I'm going to glue it down. So this has now formed a flap on the front there. Okay, I might need to trim it down just a little bit further because of the way that in which it's curled round. it's a little bit less. So this piece is going to sit on this side, and yeah, I want to trim it down just a little bit. There we go. And so this piece is going to sit on that side. Okay, so we'll do the same again. Slot that in there. Open up that little bit of a flap there. Put some glue on. And fold that round to the back. So now we've got a flap that opens like that and a flap that opens like that. I just need to wait for the glue to take on both pieces, and then I'll come back and show you the next bit. For the decoration, I'm going to use the paper bag as much as I can. Now this back piece of card here is just the same size as this piece of board, this piece here on the back where the seam is. So I'm going to very carefully cut down that seam so that I can utilise this bit of paper. So don't ever look at a paper bag and just see it as a paper bag, especially not one not as pretty as this. And then cut that bit off there. There is the flap attached at the bottom, but I'm not worried about that because I'm going to add a pocket on top. And then cut along that seam. There. Now I could cut it down a little bit further so that instead of it being an exact fit, there's going to be a little bit of a border all the way around. So that's going to sit and stick on there. And I'm just using my collal glue. Ooh. Someone needs to be informed that they're here. And that's going to sit on there. So now I've got the height that I need to cut this off at, because obviously I can't have this, well I could, but I don't want to have this funny shape at the top. I want it to be a tag shape. So I'm going to cut that off there. And use my card again to cut off the angles. And so now when you open that up, you've got that there on the inside. I'm then going to use the front of the bag to decorate these two front pieces here. And open out what's left. And I think that if I have it sideways on, I might get yeah. Okay, let's fold that in half. And so I've now got two pieces that I can use on the front sections. So I'm going to place glue on that card. And then sit the piece of paper on top, and then I can trim away the excess in a minute once the glue's set. So I'm going to repeat the same on this side. Now that bit's done, I can trim off the excess using the card as the guide to cut it off. And then the same on this side. And it now looks like that. There's a little bit of the blue card showing just here. I'm not worried about that because when I ink it all up, it'll tie it all together. But I've now got the two decorated flaps like that and the back here. And then I can use this paper to add some pockets on the inside. So I want to cut this into 3 pieces. So let's measure. Me, Mrs. Never measure, look. And I'm measuring. So I want to make sure that they're equal. So that's 6 inches long. So they need to be 2 inches each piece. Okay. I'm going to use the paper trimmer. So 2 inches and 2 inches. Check the width, so that fits nicely on there. So it'll fit nicely on that one, and this one might be too big. Let's have a look. Yeah, just trimming down just a tad. I'm just going to cut that edge as well because it's a bit jagged. Okay, so I can now add those. And I'm just going to glue around 3 sides. And obviously this pocket, this middle pocket, will cover over this flap here that was on the bag. And then I've got this green piece of paper. I'm going to glue it onto the back to cover over where I've folded those pieces of card over. So I just need to check the height. I can see that I need to trim it down a little bit. So to about there. And I'm going to put a thumb hole in it, so that whatever I put inside the pocket I can get out easily. Oh, right. When you've got thin paper like this, get a piece of scrap paper, because the punch is pulling on it, so it's not punching it out properly. But if you put a piece of scrap paper underneath, and it just adds more weight to it to be able to punch out the hole. and just check the width. So we'll just trim a little off the width. Okay, glue around the 3 sides. And then that covers over that bit of ugly on the back. So they've got that and that, and then we've got that on the back. And as I say, by the time I've inked it all up as well, and then I can punch a hole in the top and put in either seam binding or lace. I'll be back in a second. I've inked up all the edges and I've added a little bow at the top, and from my previous mistake I remembered to add my reinforcer holes as well. You'll see them again in a minute anyway. So now I want to just decorate up this front piece here. Within the kit as well there was 2 ovals, so I've inked those up, glued them together and done some faux stitching around. So I'm thinking of putting that on there, but I'm thinking of putting a strip of this fabric across the middle. So I'm just going to roughly cut a bit of that out, and then I can stick it behind, and it doesn't matter if it frays because it will just add to the texture of everything. So I think I want it round about there. So let's put a line of fabric tack on. Then that can sit on there. I can trim off the excess. Add the circle on top of the, oh, circle, hark at me, I don't even know my shapes, look. Add the oval. Come on, play, come and play. And then there was a little bouquet of flowers within the kit as well. Now I'm going to use it whole as it is. You could unwrap them and use them as individual flowers and cut off the flower heads and, you know, do all sorts with them. So that's going to sit on the front there. So I need to just trim it down to size, which is about there. Now this can nicky nacky noodle your scissors up. So I use the very far part of the blade. And the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap a bit of paper around. Let's see how much I need. About that. Just to protect fingers a little bit, so that no one's going to catch their fingers on it. So I'm just going to carefully wrap that around. Make it into a little tube. Slip that over the edge. And then I can glue it on the back Oh, I'm not making a grand job of this. Come on, Carol, shape yourself. Okay. I've just tilted the flowers forward because they're on metal wire. It means that you've got a little bit of manoeuvrability with them. So I've just tilted them all slightly forward. Okay. Trim that off. Finer scissors might help. Then I can put some glue on the back. I'll put some on the leaves so it helps to keep everything in place. In fact, I made a boo-boo because I didn't want to stick that on just yet. Oh, good, it's still come off. Put my flowers on there. And then again on the Facebook group, there's a section in the file section. Where's my ink gone? There. In the file section, there's quite a few little freebies to just download. And this is one of them with a selection of different words on. So sort of comes like that. Just chopped out friendship. And then I'm going to put that on at an angle and tuck it behind. A bit of glue on the end. And then tuck that edge round. Put a bit of glue on the end of that. Now I can glue it in place. Right, let's just put the stronger glue on it. All enclosed. There we go. And that can sit on there. And then I just want to punch a couple of holes in this end. A couple of holes, one hole. And then I've got a couple of little reinforcers rings. Stick one on the front, one on the back, and I've got a long piece of seam binding here. I'm going to have it folded so that it's short on one side and long on the other. And then the long bit can be tucked round. and tied at the end to just hold it all in place. So that can be trimmed down to size as and when you need to. And then on the inside, so if we undo this, be careful because I've got glue on my fingers, unwrap it, and then when we open it up, I've used my big tag punch from Hobbycraft, but of course you can use die cuts and all sorts. And I've punched out some little tags so that they can go in the pockets there. And I've cut one of the fancy tags down to size so that that can sit in that pocket there, so that that will close up and that will close up. And then on the back I've cut the other tag down to size as well, so that that can slot in the pocket at the back. So so that's what it looks like when it's done. I'll give you a bit of a close-up. So of course you can decorate this up as much as you like. You know, you could even add another pocket on here. You can decorate your pockets up here, you can decorate the tags or little note cards or little pieces of paper to put inside your pockets. What you need to remember though is the bulk. So you don't want to make it overly bulky. So I hope you've had fun watching me make this little tag with loads and loads of pockets in it. Of course you can add lace. I mean, you know, you can just keep on going with it, can't you? And decorate it up to your own taste. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the little mini series of all the tags that I've made, and I'll see you again in another video really soon. Thanks for joining me again today. Bye for now.